welcome to another video from Prempods. Today we shall be looking over game week 10 and then looking into game week 11, what we think the scores are going to be, how it's going to play out. But ultimately, we're here to touch on Arsenal-Liverpool as well.
I thought we could just kind of avoid that as much as possible. We'll leave it like right to the end, just a little overview. But what was going on in the rest of the Premier League? What happened in the other games? Let's forget about that one.
In the other games, well, we can start from the first, to be fair. So we'll go all the way from the first to the last, which was our game. I think one of the first games last week was Bournemouth-Leicester, no? Or am I looking at the other way?
Bournemouth-Leicester, yes, I believe so.
Bournemouth-Leicester was 2-1 and Christie scored the winner. I was very, very surprised by that result, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, yes, I think especially when Leicester went 1-0 up as well, you would have thought that Leicester would have just kind of got into cruise control, maybe got the second and then killed the game off. But yeah, I don't know what it is about Leicester at the minute. Very strange. Who did they beat recently? It was 3 or 4-0.
Leicester, I'm sure it wasn't anyone like
Maddison scored
super
2.
hard. 4-0 they beat Forest.
Yeah, okay. So that's, yeah, and at home as well.
But they lost 6-2 to Spurs the next week. Or the week before, sorry.
And then again, they've compounded that with another loss away to Bournemouth as well. This is a team that you'd expect them to beat.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, Leicester are in a lot of trouble. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but yeah, Brendan, I don't think he should be, but because of the position that they're in, and at the same time they're not being given the backing to go and buy players. In fact, they've lost quite a few key players all in one window, which can have a serious effect on the dressing room and stuff like that. So yeah, because it just seems like a very different atmosphere in Leicester at the minute. So yeah, they're in trouble for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be in the relegation scrap. They might be, but right now it's looking like they'll be in and about.
Well,
So
if they carry on this form, definitely.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a team who everyone
Boy, we would have thought
home and away beat.
Yeah.
So you can understand why some games in football the home team wins. Even when you get to the Premier League level, there's only really Man City that you say just wins away anyway. Really.
Yeah.
There's no one else that's kind of like just gonna go away and beat everyone. But I think Bournemouth, they did well to kind of protect their home record a little bit, winning against Leicester.
Yeah, they came back as well, coming from behind. That will give them a lot of confidence. Beating an established Premier League team, although they're not in the form that kind of shows that. But Leicester are definitely an established Premier League team. If they add a few more players to that squad and don't lose anymore, they'll be fine. But yeah, right now it's dreary for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then after that, we'll move on to the team we just touched on, who we always seem to have to speak about, Man City, because they just keep doing everything right. Even when we felt like they were going to lose to Newcastle, they came back and scored 3 goals in like 20 seconds. So
that's what it felt like.
This weekend was no different, and in fact, it was even easier because they didn't even concede. They didn't even go down. 4-0. They had Haaland, Foden, I think it was Cancelo and Morris who scored.
Yeah.
So
they're just getting goals from everyone. They can get goals from everywhere, and that's a big problem for everyone else as well. Like a lot of teams are solely reliant on 2 or 3 players max to come up with their goals. But City can always produce from everywhere. Cancelo is as good as most wingers in the Premier League.
I think Cancelo for me is he's played left back for them or right back.
Left back.
Normally. He's honestly, but I can't see any left back better than him in the world. I can't find one, and we watch a lot of football.
Yeah. And
it's hard to see anyone that can.
Well, obviously it depends what you kind of base that on. Obviously, he's attacking very good.
Unbelievable.
Defense is still kind of questionable at times, but
at
obviously,
times. But they're so
City
good that
control possession, isn't it? So he doesn't rarely shows up. So,
yeah, no. Yeah. Southampton for me, they have to do more. Like, when you're playing City, I think even grabbing a goal, like it just does a lot for your confidence, innit? Because if you're saying, right, these lot have pretty much spent £1 billion on their players, innit? They've probably got more money on that pitch than the Saints have in their bank account, in their stadium, the club's everything.
The club's worth.
So if you nick a goal against someone like that, when you play next week, you think, why can't we score against anyone? Do you get what I mean? So you should try and break down their defence and get a goal.
I think it's not to say that they probably didn't try, but they just get outclassed, and it's so easy to get outclassed very quickly against City, and it's so easy to find yourself free, even 4-0 down. Like very quickly as well. You can see City a lot of the time, even when we're watching, like if it's at the 3 o'clock kickoffs or watching Soccer Saturday, whatever it is, City are normally one of the first teams to score. Like you're just waiting to see how long it's going to take City to score, and it's normally within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So once they do that, especially against teams like Southampton or teams that already kind of are going into it feeling like they're massive underdogs, an early goal is just a killer to your confidence.
Yeah, and when you have I don't really rate Shea Adams. Obviously, Saints fans might say, nah, he's decent, but for me, in the games where he should be performing, he just doesn't. He doesn't put himself about in it. If you get what I mean.
I know what you're saying, but I think in them type of games, though, even against your cities, that's where you can kind of rub up against the centre backs, make it hard for them, because a lot of the time you're going to be clearing. It's hard. It is hard. Even when I watch sometimes, especially last season, watching lone strikers play against Liverpool, they're just running about, isn't it? They're hardly getting close to the centre halves or something. If they do, it's because they're probably putting a late tackle in or something just to leave something on them. But it's so hard to be a lone striker playing against them type of teams.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at SofaScore of what the ratings were in it, and I'm seeing a couple people with 5.8s in the Saints team. So it's just, they just don't let you play.
Yeah.
So it's not really even your fault at this point. Yeah, they're just so good. They're so well drilled that it's just hard to do anything in it. So
they pass teams off the park so easily.
Another 3 points for City. I can't believe that they're not first. I don't know how they've
had a couple of draws, which is kind of uncommon for them. Really, they normally either win games and very rarely lose games. They don't really draw many games. Which is better for anyone else that's going to be challenging them.
Yeah, true. Well, that's another 3 points for City, closer to us.
Easy
game. I wasn't surprised, but I was probably looking at the scoreline, and I didn't think Chelsea would win 3-0 as comfortably as they did at Wolves.
Yeah.
It's one of them games where sometimes Wolves turn up, sometimes they don't. The fans probably feel the same.
Yeah.
In games where they've played United, Ruben Neves has been on absolute fire, and then in games where they play Brighton or Bournemouth or Fulham, they just don't turn up and they get turned over.
Yeah.
But no, Broja, fine. He scored now. He looks good. It was a finish as well.
Goal as well.
Very good finish. Yes.
Pulisic's goal was good. Havertz, strange header.
Yeah.
Looped header.
That was strange.
Just found himself in no man's land, and then it was over his head before he could even react.
Yeah.
But no, some good goals in there, and it's good to see players like Pulisic, who are not regular starters, Broja not regular starters, getting on the score sheet. But it's good for Chelsea.
Not good for anyone else. But Wolves, I'm just looking at the table. They're 18th.
That's another team that you would think they're kind of an established Premier League team. They seem quite hard to beat a lot of the time and hard to play against. But sometimes like you say, they just find it difficult to turn up. But away from home, Chelsea would have been the favourites for that. I don't know. I don't know if you can look too deep into that. 3-0 can sometimes flatter teams. When Wolves could have just not taken a couple of chances, but Chelsea were dominant.
That was easy 3 points for them. And then we move on to Brighton Spurs, where Kane got the winner in the first half, I think, and then Brighton didn't really. Well, they pushed, but they didn't score because it ended 1-0.
It's a good reaction goal from Kane. He kind of wrapped in and he just kind of adjusted himself to flick it in. It's his kind of finish. But yeah, Spurs again plodding along.
Away performance as well. Brighton is not the easiest place to go.
Brighton are a good team. We found that out not too long ago. But no, they've always been consistent as well. They're a difficult team to play against. They like to play football. So Spurs will be very happy with coming away.
1-0 winners. Yeah, they're 7th in the league, Brighton.
It's not always about your performance. At this level and stuff like that, you just need to win games at certain points.
Yeah, no, Brighton. I think Brighton have done well since they let go or not let go. Since Graham Potter's gone to Chelsea.
They seem to have hired this new manager from Italy, I believe. And yeah, he's kind of just taken them on. Kind of in the same breath what Potter left them in, and they've just kind of they've just continued. The train keeps going.
Yeah, no, they're doing well, and Spurs yeah, as we said, good result. 3 points on the board again. You can't really complain.
Exactly.
You'd want to kind of see maybe more.
You maybe, but again, away from home, like we're saying, a lot of Premier League teams are very hard to go away against nowadays. The standard is a lot higher. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Teams like Brighton, you can cancel out a good performance as long as you win. You don't need to perform well, but you need to win.
Yeah, you have to win. Yeah. And then we go on to the West Ham Fulham game.
West Ham.
It was 3-1 West Ham. Saka grabbed one. Antonio scored in like 91st, 92nd minute.
I saw
and just kind of sealed it.
The Saka one was strange. That was another on the verge of like one of the handball shouts of the weekends as well. Kind of like brushed off his knuckle almost. It seemed like. But then he lobbed it over the keeper. It was a good goal, and they allowed it to stand. So
it's not bad. Well, he was in talks. Well, his agent was in talks with PSG in the summer. That's where he was looking to go.
I did not know.
And then West Ham just snapped him up. Because I was listening to, I can't remember who it was last night, but they were just basically talking about how Mbappe is getting really annoyed because he wants to play off the striker instead of being the main man. And he was one of the geezers that was supposed to come in, innit? But yeah, West Ham snapped him up. It just shows you the pulling power the Premier League has. Like,
yeah, for sure.
West Ham are like what would you say? Top 18, top 16? They're not really top 6 is you're pushing.
That's what I'm saying. Top 6 is hard to call even now.
Even saying top 10,
changing.
If you're top 10 team in the Premier League, you're up there with the best teams in the world, isn't it? Really, when you say that. Like, so the pulling power.
Yeah.
Obviously, West Ham are not going to go away and beat like Bayern Munich in the Champions League final, but I mean, playing in one of the hardest leagues in the world, they perform week in, week out, and they get these results. Fulham, as we've all seen, Mitro and that, I think he was injured. I think when I had a look at it on the weekend, it was like 75% sure that he was going to play. So I'm just going to make sure.
I'm sure were Fulham 1-0 up, or were West Ham winning?
So what happened was Fulham went 1-0 up, Anders Pereira.
Oh yes.
Just as a tip to everyone, this is what I do on the weekends. Whoever scores, back them to get a yellow. Because within 20 minutes, he's gone and got a yellow. And I just love that.
Especially players that don't often
score.
They're definitely they're
going to kick someone. They're going to kick someone.
Yeah,
Jared Bowen scored a pen before half time, so it was 1-1 at half time. And then Saka scored 62, and then as I was saying, Antonio scored 90 plus 1.
Yeah, I saw the Antonio goal. It was funny actually. Bowen started celebrating as he saw that Antonio had kind of got away from the keeper. It was kind of like a fumble situation. Antonio took the touch away. It was an open goal in the end, basically, and Bowen was half celebrating before he scored.
But I like Bowen, to be fair. He's good. He puts himself about as well. But yeah, they had Carlos Vinicius up top, so.
Well, Mitro is.
No,
he seems like a different beast at the minute. But
when he's in the air, he's
a problem. He's a problem for defenders. For sure.
It's pretty hard to play against. But yeah, no. Again, another win for West Ham. I think now that maybe, if I'm not wrong, back-to-back wins. Yeah, they beat Wolves and they beat Fulham now, so it pushes them up the table. 10 points, not the best start, but they're not as bad as kind of.
Well, they didn't start off too well as well.
No, they didn't.
So they're getting back to winning ways. Winning at home is important. London derby, it's a London derby in it, but yeah. So and 3-1's a good result.
Yeah.
3-1. It looks like a good result on paper as well.
So. Definitely, yeah. That's a good thing to take into next week as well.
Saka scoring, Bowen scoring, Antonio scoring. These are all players that you would expect to score goals as well. So it is important that they are getting on the score sheets.
And we're always talking about how hard it is to play teams at home, and they've scored 3 goals at home, isn't it? So it's just kind of backing up our point. Going away to people in the Prem is not an easy feat.
Yeah, so you need to be
unless you're City.
Take advantage of your home games and try and get that goal difference up as well.
Definitely. Well, everyone's kind of got to push their goal difference up because as you're seeing, Man City are winning 4-3-5 here, so you've got to kind of cover yourself. Yeah. Man City 2 games. That's like minus 10 goals for some teams. It's going to be minus 10 for Southampton, it looks like. And then we go to Palace Leeds. We actually watched this game. Like many of the others, I think about 3 or 4 of them I saw the highlights, but Palace Leeds I actually watched the whole game.
Yeah.
What a strike from Eze to win it.
Yes.
Turned inside, just took it past the geezer and absolutely slotted it. Keeper didn't move.
No.
He just stood still. That was a great game to watch.
Palace have got like a couple of them type players. Eze, Elise. He can put Zaha as well, and that kind of manipulate their body a different way and just give defenders help.
Yeah, no, I really like Eze.
Yeah,
he looked good the whole game as well.
Yeah, they're building a good team. Interesting.
Vieira seems to be like getting... Before, we used to get annoyed at Palace because they used to go up and then they used to try and defend it, and then they used to invite pressure on. Yeah. What they did at Arsenal.
Yeah, I still think, I don't know if they're away from that just yet, to be honest.
They did well, even when they went 2-1 up, they invited a bit of pressure, but Leeds are high intensity.
Yeah, their Leeds are like that anyway, they keep the game flowing.
Yeah, so. Leeds are high intensity. But yeah, no, Struck, and again, I think it happened again.
Struck
scored and then got a yellow. So yeah, just back my tip, I'm telling you, it's a good tip.
Especially players that are not used to scoring goals, that's important as well.
Yes.
If it's a striker that does it every week, he's bothered about scoring, and he's not going to get too hot-headed about it.
More likely than not, like centre-backs, I wouldn't back, just my own tip. Centre-backs is like, once they score, they're composed for the team, because they're the last line of defence. But a left-back, a right-back, a left wing and a right wing, if there's someone who doesn't always score, then back them for the yellow, because that left back is going to kick someone in 60 minutes. I just can't to chase.
Yeah, I just think anyone that is not used to scoring, they're always likely.
I think the only one I would stay clear from is just CBs, because they're more composed. Like if Virgil scores a header, I'm probably not going to back him to get a yellow because he's just composed.
Yeah.
Matip, I might back him to get a yellow. That's the difference in it. And then the next game was, I think, one of the games on Sunday as well. 4:30 kickoff. Our game, Arsenal-Liverpool.
Was Brentford, Newcastle-Brentford was before them games, no?
Newcastle-Brentford was... Newcastle-Brentford, yes, we missed this one. This was one of the games on Friday night, no?
No, that was a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff.
Was it Saturday?
Yeah.
Was there no Friday night kickoffs?
No Friday night. No Friday night Premier League.
So there's Friday night Premier League this week then?
Yeah. So Newcastle 5-1. 5-1 against Brentford.
Literally.
Brentford are a decent team as well. Then they're really hard to play against, it seems like. But sometimes they do just get blown away. And Newcastle at home look very good. Their home form is good. They like to play in front of their own fans. Well, obviously everyone.
Bruno grabbed 2.
But yeah, their performances have been good at home for sure. Bruno, he scored 2 different type of goals as well.
One was from a cross and then one was
so like a header, back across goal, headed it into the ground, and then kind of carried the ball inside, shot from outside the box as well. So 2 different type of goals, and he's an interesting player for sure. Bruno, I'll be interested. I want to see how long he stays at Newcastle. Obviously, if he.
Well, I mean, they got the money.
He's aware of the project, I'm sure, and it's
aware of the bank account.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will keep adding players of his quality to the team as well over the next few transfer windows and beyond.
Yeah, definitely. I think Brentford, like, they started off quite well. They're still like not doing so badly in terms of the positions. I know they're kind of like 11th, which is where I would kind of. I would yo-yo them between 8th and 12th, innit? There's just a couple of teams.
Brentford. Well, I think Brentford will accept that.
Yeah, 100%.
They've only been in the Premier League 1 or 2 years now.
I think this might be their 2nd year now.
So, yeah.
And Ivan Toney, I really like Ivan Toney. He's one of them strikers that like actually goes back, defends, gets the ball, then sets up someone. He's not selfish, which is why I like him.
He's all about the pitch, to be fair. Penalties, another penalty. You don't miss them penalties, no. That's for sure. And there's sometimes, it does strange, it's not like they're amazing penalties every single time. It's just, I don't know, it's the confidence and the composure that he just makes it just seem like another day. But yeah. And
he's good at releasing people as well. Like, he's good at timing the pass. Like, who's one of their
Burmo.
Yes. Is it?
Cannot sometimes plays, but I'm not 100% who kind of plays for them.
Mbeumo or whatever his name is. Yeah,
Mbeumo definitely.
Mbeumo is really good. His link-up play with Ivan Toney's like, they've definitely practiced that on the training pitch because they find each other all the time, like from nowhere. Ivan Toney could be in his own half and he'll find him. It's really good. That was one we missed from earlier. 5-1 Newcastle. Decent result. I can't really say anything. That's a very, very good result. Scored more goals than City.
Yeah.
Should be proud of that. Definitely. And then we'll circle back now to the best game of the weekend. Very controversial game, actually, to be fair.
Controversial.
Should have been a pen to you guys. Could argue that could argue that they're saying natural body position, not natural. How do you even define that? It's a grey area in football.
There's supposed to be there's some clips that have gone about where in real slow mo it seems as though it like scrapes his chest before it hits the hand. I don't know what kind of.
What's the rules for that then?
Yeah, I think I'd imagine that it's not a penalty if it hits your body and then hits your hand after that. I don't think it's a penalty.
But then if your hand's in the way of that, then going back to the player, isn't that still obstruction?
It should be, innit? That's what I'm saying. No matter where it hits, if it hits your hand, it should be a foul anywhere on the pitch.
Yeah, even if it hits your head first.
Accidental.
Even if it hits your head first and then goes onto your arm, that's a pen, innit?
I don't think people are always handballing it. You know what I mean? It's normally accidental, I would say. So
yeah, most of the time.
Handball is handball, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's only the ones where they dive. They're the best one. I saw one in the Championship, I think, or League One this weekend. But the geezer got sent off because he actually saved it like a keeper. He went like that, and then everyone's like, "What are you doing?"
That's obviously it is dependent on body position and stuff like that, and where your hands are. So I guess if your hands are behind your back, it's going to be almost impossible for it to hit off a body position then your hand. And if
but then
that's not natural even.
But then how easy is that for a defender to run back with his arms behind his back?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's not fair.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's a grey area in football.
Yeah.
But then if you're not given that handball, are you given a Jesus pen?
There's other handballs in the Newcastle game. I think it was actually the Tony penalty that like hit off. I don't know. I can't remember. It was a similar situation where it's like it wasn't. I think it was headed actually, but it hit off his hand. But his hand was like more like because he's like trying to jump in,
leaning back. Or something.
Yeah, you just missed it. It's gone over his head and then it's hit his hand after someone's headed it back across. So. Yeah, there was multiple decisions this weekend where handballs were. It was like, I don't know. There wasn't consistency basically.
That's what I'm saying. But then, like, surely you look at that in the game and you look back and go, Liverpool could have had a penalty. Do I give the Jesus one or do I leave it as honours even and just get on with the game? Innit? What do you do there? Because there were only real 2 penalty shouts really.
But that's another thing that happens in football a lot, I imagine. Which shouldn't happen, I don't think, in my opinion. Like what you're just saying there, just because Liverpool should have got a pen there, and maybe we've made a mistake, should we then not give Arsenal a penalty as well, just because to make up for Liverpool? No.
What I'm saying is, if it's clear and obvious, give the pen. If it's a bit dodgy, then don't give it because you haven't given them one.
Yeah, but you have to ignore anything that's kind of happened in the past, and be like not to try and even up the game, like. If you've made a mistake. You don't like then kind of try and right a wrong by making 2 wrongs.
But that's what refs do though.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And
they'll send one geezer off, and then one other guy will make a slightly bad tackle in the second half, and they'll send them off as well.
But that's I think sometimes that could be the officials feeling guilty in a way about certain decisions that they've made, and maybe they're thinking, I could have been wrong here, so let me kind of even the game up. I don't think it should be like that. If you've made a mistake, you've made a mistake. That's what kind of VAR is there for, to cut them slight human errors out. So we shouldn't have to be worrying about evening up the game. You know what I mean.
We need to get VAR in a position where it's like rugby, because they're actively speaking to the ref, actively giving help, actively showing.
Yes,
not like we've looked, now you go look. No. You look, I'm looking at it, let's talk.
We're looking at cameras.
Yeah.
We can see every single angle.
Well, we couldn't see Saka.
That's another one. But yeah, normally, in normal circumstances, they have way more angles than the referee only has his field of vision at one time. That's literally.
Yeah.
Or maybe the lino, and you could, maybe the one lino on whatever side it's on. So that's like two eyes of 2 fields of vision compared to all the cameras that these lot have access to.
Yeah, no,
like it's the Premier League, so if you want to actually get the decision right, you can't just take the time. It's not like you don't need to rush because it's a big money game as well. A lot is riding on the Premier League, which is why things like VAR and stuff I think have come in, because a lot rides on these type of games. So take the time to make the correct decision with looking into everything.
And the thing is, even when you go to matches and then you're there, like I've been to probably like 5 or 6 Arsenal games now where there's been no controversy in terms of the game's just played. They've scored, we've scored, it's been a throw in, it's been a corner, the referee's got it right.
And in football stadiums, games go so quick anyway.
Yeah, they can take like 2 minutes in your head.
But
I think they definitely need to get it right. They need to employ that shield thing that they have in the Champions League, because that's brilliant. As soon as that, because that would have found Saka onside or offside immediately with no question.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because we're still looking at these lines. What's the thickness of that line? No one knows the thickness of the line.
Okay.
They didn't even have Saka on camera. I couldn't believe that. Because for someone who's an Arsenal fan, I want to beat Liverpool fair and square
without having controversy. This should have happened this year. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And I think even if we didn't get that pen, I think hopefully we would have still won, because we would have created another chance to try and score. Yeah. Which we were creating.
You created more chances than us anyway.
Yeah, we just didn't finish. Well, from open play, we didn't finish them apart from in 50 seconds.
Yeah.
And potentially the Saka offside.
Yeah. But
and then dodgy pen. So you could say we could only got one.
It was a good performance, and I don't even think we even played that bad, to be honest. It was one of them days. We actually scored 2 goals in a game where we didn't create many chances at all. The Firmino goal is a goal from a difficult angle on his weaker foot as well, and we've just kind of slid him in behind. That was a bit too easy, but it was probably just something that they didn't think was going to happen because we wasn't creating anything anyway.
Yeah. Well, that was
kind
the first goal.
A lapse of concentration.
The first goal was Gabriel, because he's gone to go and meet the ball and then he's messed it up, and then for me someone took it and then crossed it in. And then the second goal, Saliba switched off because he's probably had nothing to do all game.
That's what literally.
And then Firmino
it wasn't really them passes going through lines at all. But Firmino, I have to give him credit for that finish, because it's not easy to do.
It was an alright game to watch. It wasn't the best Arsenal-Liverpool game I've seen.
No, it was tasty.
It was quite tasty. Scraps.
Jesus got knocked out, innit?
Yeah, he got knocked out. Yeah.
Wow, that was like, these guys were worried. Like Saka was calling to the bench like immediately. He looked like really worried.
I don't think Tsimikas meant it though.
Nah,
I think he just went into it.
Yeah.
Because there was one we watched the other day, one of the games. It might have even been in the Italian league. I don't even know if it was the Premier League. Remember when they both went up for the ball? Was it Champions League? And the geezer's left his elbow in, and then the guys had to go off injured because he's proper dug his elbow in at the end.
Was that not? That could have been the Villa game, though. I think it was the Villa
game. It was the Villa game. Yeah, it was the Villa game. It was the Villa game. Forest, didn't it?
No, but I think it was
Freuler and someone else.
Buendia,
that was it.
It kind of went up, and Buendia seemed to have got the jump on him.
Yeah.
And it was like a cheeky, just a little
quick
dig in the side, but yeah,
But I don't think Tsimikas meant that. For us, like Tsimikas is a hard type of player, and he goes in to win the ball hard. Yeah. But I don't think he does that. I don't think he does that on purpose, in my opinion, anyway. But
there are a few not nice challenges that kind of went unchecked as well there.
Yeah, I'm sure Xhaka probably got away with some. Partey got injured, your player.
Bloody hell.
Do you know what that was? That was because the game was going fast, and then for a split second it slowed down. It kind of just looked like both of them held each other and fell. But when you looked at it again, it's all Partey holding Diaz and then
tries to kick the ball first.
Yeah.
Misses. Slide clips him. Then just grabs a hold of him, and then just slide wrestle and just falls on top of him as well.
Yeah, we even had Xhaka holding your goalkeeper, hugging Alisson so he couldn't break quickly.
But these are all little things that can help you or hinder you throughout the game if you get called up on a minute.
Yeah, and it sounded quite loud, to be honest with you, at the stadium. Everyone was kind of up for it.
There's definitely Arsenal Liverpool is normally a very good game. It's the highest scoring Premier League game.
Yeah, so 3-2 again. We're up there with one of the highest scoring Premier League games of the weekend again.
Yeah.
So big games. Normally it's 3-3, 4-4. There's loads of different kind of scores we take on.
Free goal average. Something around there.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But the thing is, the way that we played and the way that you played, it could have been 3-2 to you.
It would,
could have been very.
We didn't really create them chances like that. We didn't look too threatening.
No, but all it was
Diaz went off. It was.
You saw your goal with Firmino. That was
it was easier.
It took like 2 passes.
It seemed easy enough to score in the end. Like that just the pass just went through. He was in behind, and then a good finish across goal. But you have to take
our first two looked super easy from your defence in terms of 50 seconds. Martinelli's in, and then again he's in and past to Saka. So I think we need to definitely tighten up our defences. Gabriel for me just needs to wake up.
I think he is probably the weaker link now.
I think it's just because Saliba's so good though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Gabriel before last season,
Yeah, Ben White was
probably
a
the
dodgy
better
one.
player. No, but I'm saying he would still get red cards. He would still get penalties. Like Gabriel was still, even out of him and Ben White.
He lost us the game against City
and get sent off more. Yeah. Like he is a bit of a head case. So.
Yeah, but at least he tackles. Ben White don't even tackle geese. Yeah. Ben White just jockeys people 60 yards and lets them in the box. I need to see some defender from that geezer for him to be my right back. I'll be honest with you, because Tomiyasu, for me, played left back brilliantly. Mark Salah. Salah didn't do anything. That's Tomiyasu.
There was I remember one time where Salah just actually tried. Like it's the first time he actually tried.
Yeah.
And it was pretty easy to get past Tomiyasu. But I don't know, man.
Not again.
Other than that,
No, Salah for me, every time he picked up the ball, you looked for him to do something and he just didn't look bothered.
Literally.
Just doesn't look bothered.
Unbothered at all.
He's like Hazard at the end of his career at flipping Chelsea. He just started to give up. Because you know them runs that he used to make where he just darting 40 yards.
I can't really say that to be honest, because in his last season at Chelsea, that got him the move to Real Madrid, didn't it? So you could probably more say in his Real Madrid career.
Probably Real Madrid then, yeah, because I've seen him and this guy is shorter than me and he's heavier than me.
Yeah. He loves his wine, I'm sure, wine and cheese on his summer holidays.
Probably.
Because he comes back to training overweight.
Yeah, definitely. But we touched on Arsenal Liverpool for quite a while, probably longer than all the other ones, which was always going to happen. But another 3 points at the top of the table.
Is that? And you're not drawing. That's another thing. You're not drawing games, which could be key. If you're really serious about this whole title thing, and like we're saying, you just take it one game at a time and just try and win that game, go on to the next, win that game. You could even afford, if City keep drawing, to lose twice against City.
Yeah, well, yeah, because then they can keep drawing. If they draw 6, innit?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like draws would have killed us over the past few years for the title.
Yeah. Optimistically, I would say we can do it. Being a pessimist, I'm like, we're just waiting for City to overtake us at this point. Yeah, that's all it is. That's what everyone's saying as well.
But that's the thing. That's what we were saying like last week, a couple of weeks ago. That you don't need to worry about City. Innit?
Yeah, no, they do their own thing.
You can kind of almost guarantee and just say to yourself, City are going to win. So what do we need to do?
I know, we come first, innit, out of the other 19.
We have to. No, not even that. We need if we know City are going to win, we need to win.
Yeah.
But don't focus on City.
No draw.
Already put out that they're going to win. So there's kind of like an extra motivation.
I think if you finish second in the league, you've done a very good job, to be honest with you, because they're spending like billions.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not.
You're the first loser, which is not bad, isn't it? Not bad. And I think coming second from the season we had last year, Jesus, that's a
100%.
That's an unbelievable season.
Improved again, and again you can build from that.
Yeah, the squad's better.
Believe in that project. The players will believe in that project. I'm sure they do at the minute. It certainly looks like it.
They all fight for each other.
Exactly. So, and you just need more of that. And you can add. The thing is with that squad is you've nowhere near hit your ceiling.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like you could say even the front three, Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus haven't hit their ceiling. I'll be honest with you. My opinion on Jesus is he's been fantastic since he's come. Very sharp, puts himself about, but he's not going to be that striker to fire you to a Premier League. But the difference is we never had that with Firmino. It's almost similar. Do you know what I mean? The goals can come from Saka and Martinelli, and then they can score 20 a year. Potentially, I'm just saying that they haven't. Like their ceiling is much higher than Jesus's for me. Martinelli and Saka, and that's promising because Jesus is only 25, 26, and his ceiling he can go a lot higher with his career as well. And then if you improve, like I don't know, and people are buzzing off Xhaka at the minute. They're appreciating how he's playing and his partnership with Partey. But I think you still have to improve him specifically. Yeah, and you can go out and buy a player that is better than Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, 100% we can.
We
can make them better. That's why I'm looking at Xhaka in the game and I'm thinking, I respect what you've done for the club. I don't actually. I take that a bit of a pinch of salt because he swore at us, innit? But the thing is, for about 3 seasons, I was calling him every name under the sun. So as a reaction, I'm a human. Fair enough, innit? You're on the pitch, you're getting the stick.
Once.
Yeah, I'm going to swear back, innit? So. Fair enough, innit? I respect kind of what he's nailed.
He's come back from a lot of adversity in it as well.
Yeah.
To now being, you could consider one of the fan favourites at the minute.
Obviously Saka, I think, and Jesus and Smith Rowe, Martin, these people, Saliba, obviously.
I think it can quickly turn again, especially with Xhaka, someone like Xhaka, depending on his performance. But yeah, it's going well at the minute, and you just have to keep it up. That's it.
Yeah, I just think there's definitely, as you're saying, there's definitely someone that does what Xhaka does in terms of mentality, and he's got the technical ability in it. That's what we're missing. And then swiftly moving on to Everton United. Ronaldo scored his 700th goal in football,
700th career goal,
and he scored the winner before half time, and then no one did anything.
Yeah.
Everton looked good, wasn't that Iwobi's finish?
What a great goal. Outside the box.
Great goal, and then they've gone on to lose.
Then they were just flat. It was like that excited the crowd.
Proper.
In that first, I think it was 10-15 minutes the first goal came. And then United just took over, really. Yeah, they've been playing some good football, actually, Man United. The way they're linking up, Martial, Rashford, Eriksen.
Martial came off injured, isn't it?
Yeah, he's another strange one, though, man. He's sometimes,
I think he's probably looking for a move somewhere, because...
No, I don't know, you know, it's just that he's just inconsistent, and he still has these injury problems somehow. So it can happen, innit, obviously, but he does something well, and then it's like an injury comes or a bad performance comes, like he's never consistent with it. So yeah, if they can keep him fit, Martial and Rashford, the way they link up and play together, they're a dangerous pairing.
Yeah.
For a lot of back fours.
Yeah, no, I like the way they're starting to play. I still want more from Sancho.
Anthony scored again. Third game in a row.
Yeah. He's doing well.
He keeps that up, he keeps been getting at least one chance a game. So if you just take that one chance,
then he'll score, innit? It's good. I like that game. It was decent to watch. Like from a neutral point of view, there was some glimpses, but mostly it was pretty much played in the middle, and it was whoever kind of was going to take that one chance, and if it falls to Ronaldo, it's always going to take the one chance, and it really. Yeah. So Denmark doing well. Where are United in the table now? Are they kind of above? I would expect them to be above you at this point.
They've got to be what, 5th, 4th?
Yeah, 5th. And Everton are where now? 12th. So
12th.
It's quite a close game for a difference in league table, but it's only been 9 games played, so it's not really much you can expect from that.
That was a decent enough performance by Everton. On another day, they could have got a couple of goals.
Yeah.
But at the same time, on another day, United could have got a couple of more goals as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the game evened itself out. The result evened itself out.
Yeah, definitely. And then if United go on to win their next game, because they've got a game in hand, so do Chelsea as well. But if United win their next game, they go 2 points behind Spurs. So they're in.
It's still tight. It's
very tight.
Like, how many points are we now away from United?
You are on 10. United are on 15, and you both got a game in hand. So yeah, if United win and you win, it'll stay the same.
Yeah, it can still be 5 points. So 5 points.
Literally 5 points is the gap.
You just need a turnaround of form and 3 games that you're kind of expected to win, and the team knows that, and they go out and deliver. You just need a couple of games to get the run going again.
Yeah, true.
We don't look. Liverpool ain't creating much at the minute, even in games, despite scoring goals, which is strange as well. Like we scored 9 against Bournemouth, 3 against Brighton, but I don't think we didn't look great. That kind of flattered our overall performance. Some of them goals.
Yeah, it definitely did. I think you just need to get into a groove whereby you just keep winning, because if you start picking up points in this table, you start flying up it really.
I think it's good for Nunes to get a goal as well.
Yeah.
On the weekend. Big game. And yeah, his job is to score. He got one. At times he was holding off. He was holding off some of the defenders as well. That was one of his better performances actually. Nunes. Like he wasn't as bumbly.
That's
the
true.
times that he did actually get the ball, he kind of held it.
He done well against Saliba as well. I didn't think he would do that well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he was, and that's literally holding up the ball, setting it off to someone else. Like, there's not a lot that you can be expected to do. I suppose, as a.
To be fair, my video that we did last week, Nunes is League 2 striker. I'm sticking to it because I've watched us go and draw to Brentford, Burton. They had a League 2 striker. He scored 2 against us, so he's still a League 2 striker in my opinion. We have to wait, and he needs to start scoring against United, Everton.
Yeah, scoring in these little games as well, man. Score against
score hat-tricks in
games, the smaller teams. Score in those games as well.
Yeah, score hat-tricks. That's where you start.
He does seem like he can get in the right positions at times. It's just whether he's going to be not as bumbly as he usually is.
Yeah, it's true. And then the last game of game week 10, Forest Villa, 1-1. Ashley Young screamer.
Monday Night Football.
That was a good game to watch, to be fair. I didn't think it was going to be that feisty.
Yeah, I think it was pretty low quality for the most part.
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible.
But it was a tasty game. So
it was fun to watch as
a neutral as well. I think if you were a Villa or Forest fan, you're probably pulling your hair out at that game. To be honest,
you'd be very worried.
Gibbs White is very impressive. Yes, I like Gibbs White,
yes.
and on the other side, Jacob Ramsey.
Yes,
2 players that play in midfield, young, good prospects for their teams and beyond.
It was actually quite funny watching the game, because I was looking at from like when I used to play football ages ago as a centre midfielder, and it was kind of like their centre midfielder Yates was doing everything he could to annoy Jacob Ramsey and try and be better than him. But ultimately it ended up that Jacob Ramsey just did more. Like he was just more about the pitch. Yates played well, but from a centre midfielder I was kind of watching that battle. And Yates was kind of just more looking at Ramsey.
He was trying to wind him up.
And Ramsey was just kind of moving on to
getting the better of him football-wise.
No.
So he had to kind of get in his head
Kick him and stuff
try
like that,
and affect his, like put him off his game type thing.
Again,
I really like Ramsey, to be honest. And now I was a bit sceptical about that 40 mil Gibbs White, but that's a lot of performance-related bonuses that has to get it up to 40 mil. But still, I think that's just the market. He's a young English lad.
And he's got talent as well.
He's played, a lot of the times when I've watched him, he creates stuff. He's exciting to watch.
Yeah, he's one of the people, like, I compare the young people when they pick up the ball with their back to goal, but they always know how to turn around. Like Foden, Saka, these people, even if they receive it here, they know what to do to get that
touch in it where and then he did the outside the boot. The shot wasn't. It looked good.
Yeah, it looks good. If he would have just
hit
it straight, it would have been
the first touch to get him into that position was brilliant.
Yeah, that was very nice to watch. To be fair, but that was a good game for neutrals. As we were saying, if you're actually one of the fans,
young screamer. So you said that earlier, but young screamer.
Great goal.
Dean Henderson. They keep saying that Henderson's conceded 6 or 7 goals.
Yes,
in the last
all
game
screamers
from outside the area.
All screamers.
So it's like
you can't do anything.
What can you do?
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure hosting you. Have a great rest of your day and see you all again soon.